His eyes are like the size of quarters. He looks terrified. And when I seen it, I already had the gun in my hand. Flew back, and it just made this noise. Like, it sounded like a... And I could hear whatever the hell it was. It was behind us. I mean, it's looking at me like it knows that I'm there. I know it's there. It had something in its hand. And he goes, and it looked to me like it was...
Rivers. Many are the playground for families. Children splashing, building castles in the sand. Friends sharing a picnic under the shade of a cottonwood tree. And fishermen trying to hook the next big fish to talk about. To anyone watching, it's a perfect scene of summer enjoyment. But when the sun dips below the horizon and the laughter and the voices fade away, the river shoreline becomes something else entirely. It can be a playground of dread and terror for some. We forget those who remain that are seen and sometimes unseen, who call the riverbanks home, the destitute, the homeless. They occupy many rural and metropolitan areas along many major river systems, setting up encampments that sometimes reveal drug use, prostitution, and other elements of society that many want and wish to forget about. But these homeless also see something else, something that the rest of us doesn't. The untold accounts of terrifying creature sightings that are unthinkable to hear, let alone to acknowledge. This next true story is one such encounter.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Monster 911. It's good to be with you once again. If you're a returning subscriber, welcome back. And if you're new to the channel, my name is Lance, where I interview via phone or in person. I also travel and stay overnight at sighting locations of people seeing entities, paranormal creatures that are very much alive in isolated areas across the U.S. and across the globe. So this next interview is one of those interviews that's very memorable for me, and I think it'll be for you too. Every once in a while, you'll do an interview or you'll hear a story that's really just terrifying. And there's aspects of it that absolutely, I know this person is telling me the truth. I know that you can hear it in their voice, their cadence, the rhythm of delivery, all those things. I can't even imagine from his standpoint and his friend's standpoint. So, a few months ago, this young man called the toll-free number, and he wanted to leave his name out of it, as well as some other names of what he was about to tell me of this encounter story that happened some years ago when he was much younger, and I said that I would do that. And after you hear this story, I'm sure it'll make you ponder as it did me. And that is, we see homeless within the inner cities. We see homeless in rural settings, as well as we see homeless down on river systems, river bottoms, lake areas. And you see these encampment sites. But I wonder too, what do these people really see when the sun goes down? What terrors really occur after dark?
When I was 16, I had like just gotten out of juvenile. Like I was in juvenile hall for a while, and I ran into one of my friends. He was I used to kickbox with him when we were like 14. Like we were kids. His dad was like a 10-time world kickboxing champion, blah, blah, blah. And he pretty much, I ran into him. He knew I wasn't doing good. So he kind of was like, hey, you need to get back into training and da, da, da. And he knew this other guy because he didn't want to train under his dad because he was like in a shadow or whatever. You know what I mean?
Right.
How that goes. So I was like, okay, like I didn't. It's not like I had anything else going on whatsoever. I was dead broke, and I just like I had clothes on my back. That was it.
Okay.
So I was like, sure, I'll come train. And then I started doing that. I met this guy. He's a Bosnian refugee. He was real cool. He didn't speak a lot of English or anything, but he was cool. And so what they pretty much like the start when we first started training, we would go to Cahokia Mountains every Saturday morning and every Sunday morning. We'd jog up what's called Monk's Mountain in Cahokia, Illinois. We'd go up there we'd both have a different colored ball. We'd set it up there. We'd come back down. Then the next day we'd go back. We'd pick that ball up and bring it back down. And then after we left Cahokia Mountains, we'd hop in his van and we'd go to the riverbank, Mississippi River on the Illinois side. It's about a 10-minute drive from there.
Okay.
I clocked it because somebody else, I'd met up with another person and we clocked the time because when you're a kid, and this was before cell phones and stuff. I mean, we have flip phones, but I didn't have a flip phone. I was broke. But
Right.
Some kids had flip phones and stuff like that. And, you know, you just have like the little time on the van thing that was never right to go off of. So you had no real comprehension of time or anything other than we woke up at 6 to train on Saturdays and Sundays.
Gotcha.
So, but yeah, and I mean, originally when we first started doing it, because I got out, I want to say I got out April 26th because it was 5 days after my dad's birthday. So we got that, and then I met up with him within like a week of that. So like originally just doing the whole mountain thing wore me out. But then as time went on and, you know, cardio built up and stuff, he added the river thing just as a way, because it's like, it teaches you how to stay light on your feet. You know what I mean? You have to use your toes. You got to move. You got to this. You got to that. It's a lot of boxers and kickboxers nowadays use that. MMA fighters, all that. They use that type of training if they do outdoor training, other than the ones that are, you know, get paid a lot, live in gyms and stuff like that. But anyways, so we would do that, and then after it was August, it was like the hottest time ever. And, you know, the city of St. Louis, obviously where we were at, it's right across the river. The weather is the exact same. Okay. So it's extremely humid. It's hot. It's disgusting. And we had been doing this, like I said, for 3-4 months, something like that. So we had already kind of come across different problems. Like they got packs of wild dogs and stuff out there. I'm pretty sure they still have it to this day. I don't know if they ever cleaned that up or not. But back then they had packs of wild dogs. You had prostitutes. You had anything you could think of. You could possibly run into in that area, especially along a riverbank or railroad track. Anywhere that seemed like it was deserted, it wasn't deserted. That's generally where bad shit was happening.
Okay.
So we had gotten into a few. I mean, obviously we were kickboxers, so we were tough enough, but I was 16, he was 18. We were still kids at the end of the day. So our trainer, he'd kind of taken the time out for a while because we were the two people that he was training. He had his regular classes and stuff where he trained other people, but he'd taken enough interest in us where we were training every day with this dude, like 7 days a week, nonstop.
Wow.
Yeah. So, he took us, pretty much he just taught us how to shoot well, like took us to the range, made sure we knew. And, you know, I already had my gun safety course from when I was a kid, but then he got my friend, I don't want to say his name, but he got my friend his safety course, got all that just so that we were somewhat legit and had an idea as to what we were doing, carrying firearms, just because, you know, he was he was an old man. Like, I mean, he was tough as nails, but he was an old man. It's not like he was going to jog with us down the riverbank
Right.
or anything and make, you know what I mean? Like, he was tough, but he didn't have that kind of endurance anymore. He smoked like 3 packs of cigarettes a day. He's just that type of guy.
Right.
But
Right.
just just the OG gangster type of Bosnian dude. That
Oh,
he
yeah.
finally was. And he, I mean, and we weren't, it's not like we were going to object. He was just like, he just gave us, we both had 357 pistols that we kept in a little sling bag, and we keep it on our back or on the front, wherever we wanted,
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we always kept that when we jogged the riverbank, because we'd run into homeless people. We'd run into those dogs, like I said, and just different, you never really know. I mean, we ran into, I don't want to get too descriptive just because of, your channel. I don't want to I don't want to say too much.
Yeah,
But
that's fine.
There was one time that I guess as deep as I'll go is like, obviously people being serviced, like I already talked about prostitutes, people being serviced. And there was probably the worst up until this point. There was a body that was brushing up and hitting against the bank, so to speak. Yeah, so it was. I mean, so we were already kind of used to that, and we're weathered. We're from St. Louis. I mean, it's the most dangerous city in the country. So
Right. Right.
not like we hadn't already seen stuff like this. But it's not what you want to see. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's
of
not like
course,
you
of
go out
course.
your way to go see stuff like that. Like, no,
It's
you don't
just
wanna see it.
reality. It's reality,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
it was just the reality of life at the time.
Mm-hmm.
So, but anyways, beyond all that, so he had given us, he was just like, if you absolutely have to, this is for that. So it was, like I said, it was in August.
Hey guys, I just want to let you know real quick how much I appreciate you when you like and comment to the show. It really means a lot. But in addition, there's still 62% of you that have not subscribed yet to the show. And if you'll just take a second to see if you have subscribed, that would really mean a lot. Not only in helping this show grow and allowing me to venture out and do very unusual types of interviews and travel, but also you'd be part of our history. And that really means a lot as well. So if you'll check on that, I would appreciate it. Back to the show.
We went up the mountain. We came back down. We got in the van. We used to spar for who could sit in the front seat, because the back seat wasn't a seat. It was just a bucket that was bungee corded to the side of the van.
Okay.
Yeah. So obviously, and I always lost because he was 185. I was 160. He's just bigger and better, honestly. In reality, just better too. It really, the size wouldn't have mattered regardless. But so I'm sitting on the seat. We make our way over there, and like, you got to go over railroad tracks, and it's a gravel road, and you go, and then it's under a bridge. Anyways, so we get there, we get out, and I'm not gonna do the whole like, oh, I had some weird sinking feeling in myself. Nothing like that happened. The only thing that happened was I got out of the car, and I was just like, fuck, I don't want to go do this right now. I'm freaking tired. It's hot. It's humid. The humidity rate just really hit me and stuff. It's like I already jogged up Cahokia, Monk's Mound to Cahokia Mountains. Like, it's a big mound to jog up and then come back down. It's like I just didn't want to do it. And he already had started to take off, and I was like, God damn. So I start slowly trekking behind him, and he's picking up speed. And the guy, he used to time us too, and that was a big deal. Like, we had to, if we didn't do it in a certain amount of time, then once we got back to the gym, we had to work out even harder. So it's like, so I started trucking along, going as fast as I could, trying to keep up. I remember there was like some more overhanging brush than normal, because it was that time of year where it's like everything just seemed to grow more.
Mm-hmm.
There's itchweed and stuff like that. You're running through that, and it just sucked. And then so I seen him go around this bend that we go around. You go around that bend, and then you go to the end of the bend, and that was it. And this is another place where we had seen, this is another thing I should probably just add. So we had seen homeless encampments out here before. We had seen tents and homeless people, weird, crazy. Some of them were nice. Some of them just didn't give a shit. But some of them, they felt like they were entitled to that land and that property, which is also a reason why we had pistols as well.
Mm-hmm.
But so as I'm getting to go around that bend, I make it seem like he was maybe 10 seconds ahead of me. I got this huge just whiff of just death. I mean, everybody knows what fresh roadkill in the summer smells like.
Oh, yeah.
So I got hit with it, and it hit me so hard that I just went to one knee and threw up pretty much.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, like it was that bad. Like I don't know if I was inhaling with everything when I, came around the corner.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that had to have been it because it was hot and I was breathing pretty hard. So I just, one knee, blah, and then plus all the exercise and less water. We don't eat like we wouldn't eat in the mornings and stuff like that because we were dropping weight at the time. Anyways, and then the next thing I know, I look up and he's like, I heard something, but the wind's blowing. You're by the river. You hear shit. It's just
Mm-hmm.
normal to hear stuff. And I see him, and his eyes are, they're like the size of quarters. And I was just like, what the hell is wrong with this dude? And we had like a
I'm sorry.
code.
Who are you looking at?
The guy that I kickbox
Oh, the guy
training
that
partner.
that's with you. Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. He was ahead of me, and he had turned the bin. And like I said, as I was coming up to turn the bin, that's when I got the smell or whatever. I like threw up. And by this point, we were already behind. Like the guy, our trainer in the van, he couldn't see us at this time. So, anyways, I had done that. I see him come around. His eyes are like the size of quarters. He looks terrified. And I had heard something, but like I said, I couldn't make out exactly everything that I heard. But we had like a code that we would say to each other whenever something wasn't good, even though he didn't have to say it, and we just would say like RNG, so people didn't know what we were saying. It's just been run and gun.
Mm.
And before I could stand up, he pretty much just like tackled me. But I think what he was trying to do was like grab me and pick me up to get me to run or whatever. But I don't really know. He was so easiest way to put. I've never seen him like that. Like he was on, toe to toe on business, all 10, all the time, like never scared or intimidated by anybody or anything.
Mm.
I mean,
Right.
like I said, especially with his dad and his kickboxing training. I mean, this guy did not care. He was 18, but he was every bit of any of the best UFC fighters you could ever think of. He could take them out, especially at that time. But so yeah, seeing him like that, terrified and not really understanding what was going on, I just put my hand in my bag because I always wore mine in front because it seemed dumb to wear it on my back. Like if I needed it, like made more sense to wear it in front.
Mm-hmm.
So I just put my hand in the bag, and he's like trying to pull at my one arm, and I'm looking, and I see this shadow, so to speak, or at least it seemed like it was a shadow at first, and then I see a hand. It's big. It's like Michael Jordan's hand or something. You know what I mean?
Right.
Huge freaking hand, but not a human. Obviously, it's not a human. It didn't look like a human hand. It kind of did, I guess. It's hard to explain. Like the best reference that I could give that I've been able to give is like there's a X-Men movie with the one that's about like the solo Wolverine movie or whatever that's got that saber-toothed dude in it. He's got the big ass claws on his hands in that movie. Yeah, like, and he can extend them and all that. It looked like that, but with bigger and with hair, coming to pull this brush aside. And when I seen it, I already had the gun in my hand at that point.
Okay.
And I was just like, what the, is that? And I don't know. I was 16. Obviously, I had just gotten out of juvenile not that long before. I wasn't the most responsible human being on the planet. So, like, I mean, people can fault me for this, but I didn't care. It looked like something I'd never seen before. I mean, it didn't, even if it was a human, the fact, if, you're chasing us, if you're coming after us or chasing us down, even if that would have been a human hand, you obviously are being threatening in some way, shape, or form.
Sure.
So I just pointed the gun and pulled the trigger. And when I did, I hit it somewhere in its hand, and it just like, the tree, whatever you want to call it, because it's more like a big bushy type tree thing. I don't know, whatever you want to call that. Flew back, and it just made this noise. Like it sounded like a scream, but with like this guttural, low, bassy sounding growl. Yeah.
How close was it when you shot it?
10 yards at best.
Oh, wow.
So he had already, if you could picture it from the river standpoint, like the riverbank standpoint, and it's a big bank, like this ain't no little bitty riverbank. It's a huge riverbank, but there's all this, foliage and stuff that's grown over it, and it's all over the place. That's why it was really great for footwork and stuff like that. So it's pulling this thing back or whatever, and it was like right at the end, like right where the corner would be. It was almost like, I wouldn't say it was 90-degree angle, but at least an 80-degree angle.
Okay.
And yeah, I seen it. It was, and it, I could see the shadow, you know what I mean? But we were kind of in the shade when he had like pulled me down. Like this all happened in a very short span of time. Like this wasn't like an exaggerated, I don't even think it was a full minute which this happened.
Okay.
When I, from the time he landed on me and I had the gun in my hand and pulled the trigger and then heard that noise. But then that was the only thing that slowed us down, or it slowed me down. At least I don't know if it slowed him down. It's not like I looked back and said, hey, did you feel that? Like, but it almost like shook me, like shook my body a little bit, like made me want to just stay frozen. But for whatever reason, I don't know. I don't know if it was just a different type of instinct or what, but I just pulled the trigger like 2 more times after I heard that, because I was like, I don't know what the hell that was, but I don't want to find out. So I just put in the same exact spot that I had seen it kind of, let go of the branches and everything like that. I just pulled the trigger 2 more times, and then he was grabbing me by my shoulder and pulling me up like, what the fuck is wrong with you, motherfucker? We gotta go. Like, I'm like, yeah, no shit. So yeah, we take off, and I don't know, like I didn't look back, to be real with you. I did not look back. I didn't think about it. I just took off, and then our teacher, whatever, trainer, whatever you want to call him, he obviously had heard the gunshots, and he was sitting on the, so like if you got a van, right, like those like vans, the big boxy ones.
Oh yeah.
If you got the window down, you can pull yourself up and you can sit on it.
Oh yeah. Yep.
So he's sitting there from the driver's side, with the driver's side the opposite direction of where we were. So
Gotcha.
the van was for you. You understand what I'm saying?
Yep.
Okay, so he's sitting. And he, like I said, he was an old school dude. He kept weapons. He was just that type of guy. So he had a double barrel shotgun. It was a 12 gauge. I'm assuming it had to have had slugs in it, because all I heard was boom, boom over, like, and I could feel the wind as I was coming towards the van. I could feel it going over my head.
Oh.
And I wasn't really, I could feel the wind of whatever it was, and I could hear whatever the hell it was. It was behind us, but it didn't quite, it wasn't that, it felt like it was right next to us, but I don't know. I couldn't see.
So,
I don't have eyes behind me.
Of course. So let me make sure I understand thus far. You guys were running together, running back toward the direction you came, toward the van, and your trainer was shooting over your heads.
Yeah, he was shooting over our heads,
and you could feel the
I could feel the wind from the bullet. That's why I assume he had to have been shooting slugs, because if it would have been something else, there's no, and it's not like, he was a man of very few words. It's not like I was like, hey, what kind of bullets were you shooting at?
Sure.
It was behind me. It's not a question you ask somebody like that, especially.
Of course.
So he was extremely ready to bury this entire thing by the time we got out of there, so to speak, and make sure nobody said a word about it or anything like that.
Yeah, please go ahead. I'm sorry to interrupt, but please continue.
Yeah, no, you're good. So he did that, and he must have racked in more shells or whatever. It's not like I wasn't paying attention to him, because I know I heard at least, I want to say it was 2 more, but it could have been more. I don't really know for sure. But we sling the doors open, boom, I jump in, sure, we're out, going. And then I'm scrambling to my little, 5-gallon bucket that's bungee corded to the side of the van, like the inside of the van.
Right.
And I get to that, and and he had done the full U-turn, and then I look back, and I see this dog. I guess you couldn't really call it dog. I mean, a wolf dog, really big wolf-shaped dog, something. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, like a werewolf type of canine.
Something like that, but it was on all fours. So it was on all fours, and there was another one, and this one looked more, but the other one, it was laying down. This is how I kind of figured out, because after what happened after this, here in a second, this is kind of how I figured realized that I didn't hallucinate. So there was one that it almost looked like extremely giant dog laying face down. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Just laying face down. It had a tail, it had all that, and it was gray, like had a real gray hair to it. And it like it reminds me of like in the Lion King, you know, the hyenas. How they
Yes.
had the gray and they had like the main thing on the back or whatever you want to call that.
Yeah, like like an extra coat of hair, like another coat of hair on that hump.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, on its back, you know, where its shoulder blade and everything else would be, and it was lean, it was, you know, kind of crumpled up. So I'm not it still could have passed as an extremely large dog in that sense at that moment, but it was definitely either extremely injured or dead. Is all I can say about that one. I don't know if it was dead, but it definitely wasn't getting up. I could say that.
So you saw it as this was in like the rear view window.
No, this was so I was looking out the back window of the van.
That's what. Oh, I'm sorry. Back window of the van. You're seeing this in the back window as you guys are
Yeah.
speeding off, and
As we're speeding off, yeah. So I seen that one like that, and then I see there's another one. It was black, and it was black, but like in the sun, you know, it kind of had like that reddish tint to its hair. Like,
Yeah.
I'm sure you've seen that before.
mm-hmm.
And animals and hair and stuff like that. So it kind of had that to it. This other one, I mean, and the other one was big, it was stocky. And this other one, it was a little bit thinner. I mean, it was still big, but compared to the other one, the one that was laying pretty much face first, like I couldn't see its head either. Like I don't know if it didn't have a head or what. Like I don't know if he shot his head off. I don't know. I'm not gonna pretend to know because I don't know.
Right.
But and then as we're about to hit the railroad tracks, we hadn't fully hit the railroad tracks. I'm staring at the black one. It's staring right back at me, and it's looking at me like it knows that I'm there. I know it's there. All that, you know, it's got them. I don't know. I don't know if I would call it amber. It's more of an orange,
Okay.
like a really bright, dark orange color.
Okay.
You know what I mean? It's not. It wasn't orange. It wasn't like amber because amber is more of a yellow, right? More
Yeah.
like a
Yeah.
blue
It's
shade.
a lot of. You're describing the eyes.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, most people, it'll be somewhere like an auburn. The eyes different in color, but it'll be like a Pilsner beer, kind of that yellow look, or it'll be
Right.
kind of a reddish yellow, or in some cases, some people just say it's red.
I've heard the red thing. This it didn't have red eyes. It was just more of an like I guess like you know how you were saying the Pilsner beer. You know if you go up in whatever darkness of beers,
Mm-hmm.
I guess like the you know like the Halloween orangey looking beers.
Yeah.
something like that. It was more like that's what its eyes were. To
Oh,
me. That's
man.
the way I seen its eyes. It was an orange, and I'm not gonna say it was glowing. It's not like it looked like flashlights. You know what I mean? It's not like or a black light in the sun with you know what I mean. A black light if there was no sun.
Right.
You understand what I'm trying to say?
Sure.
But yeah, it definitely it had eyes and like it had eyes that knew. It just looked really intelligent, you know. Just looking at it was just it was like staring, you know, staring holes into me. It was just like glaring at me, like I know you and I'm gonna come get you. Something
Yeah.
type.
Yeah.
That was how it felt in the moment, but obviously 16 years old trying to have a normal rationalized mind. I'm just thinking, okay, so it was just two giant dogs and maybe one of them got on its paws to get around. I don't know. I was just coming up with anything I could possibly think of
Sure.
up until as we're about to hit the railroad tracks, which I would then bump my head off the top of the van quite a few times. But keep in mind, I was a kickboxer. I was very used to getting my head hit. So as I'm looking, it goes from just being this huge dog on all that looks like it's on all fours and it stands up. Yeah. And it looks like it's going for the other one, like it's going to grab it with its hand. And then boom, 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 my head's bouncing up and down. And so I'm like, oh shit, I fell. Like, you know what I mean? Because he
Yeah.
was going fast. It's not like he was taking the railroad tracks lightly after what had just happened. He was jetting, he was out.
Okay.
So yeah, so then it's a boom, 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 and then all of a sudden we're on the back road headed to the highway, and then he's looking back. I was trying to get back to my seat actually because I fell out of it, but and he was driving so fast that you know it was pretty much just like after the bumps and all that,
Mm-hmm.
I might as well just not even gotten back to my seat or been able to see anything outside of the van until we were getting off onto the exit onto the highway. So And then as soon as we got there, he just it was very, like, I mean, it was a very cold, short couple. I mean, that's how he always talked, though. So I'm not trying to say anything negative about him at all.
Sure.
That's just how he was. That's just the human he was.
Right,
He
right.
was just like, you know, you saw nothing. You saw nothing. And,
Oh, really? He was saying that to you guys?
yeah. And we were just like, all right, we saw nothing, dude. Like, shit. And but he reiterated it a lot. We got back to the gym. We didn't have to train the rest of the day, which never happened. We'd have to train, nothing. We ate, like, he bought us lunch and stuff, and we just kind of sat there, but he didn't talk about it. He just wanted to make sure we weren't going to talk about it. Even though I don't think that was out of, like, secrecy or anything. I don't think he was involved in any weird shit.
Mm-hmm.
I just think he didn't want us to talk about it because of, number one, people would think we were crazy.
Right.
And on top of being that we were kickboxers, we got hit in the head a lot. People would think, you know, there's a possibility he could lose his fighters because, oh yeah, their brains have been rattled so much they're talking about werewolves or some shit. You know what I mean?
Right, right. And he's probably
So I feel
right.
like
He's
your
probably
head-
right.
Yeah, I feel like that's, I mean, and that's all my assumption. That's not, I don't know that for sure. It's not like he said it like that, but he was just very, you know, cautious with it and stuff like that.
Mhm.
And I feel like, being that he was from Bosnia, he was older, he had kind of hinted later on at stuff like that, possibly of seeing that kind of stuff. I don't know this for sure. It's just stuff that you pick up on later after you see something that you didn't think existed.
Right.
And then you recognize the way people are wording things. But at the same time, he spoke extremely broken English. Like, it's not, so I'm not going to overly exert that theory or anything, but I feel like he might have ran across something like that before. And then it's just like, but that's just a possibility.
Yeah,
Sure.
well, it's somebody, you know, sometimes when people don't say anything, sometimes their body language and behavior, and usually the eyes will tell a lot. And
that's
so,
what- yeah.
and if they've never run into anything like that, then what you have, him being a man of very few words and, you know, being pretty tough guy, what happens is that when they see something like that for the first time, it still internally kind of shakes their world up, because in a lot of countries, whether it be Bosnia, they have a lot of lore and myths and things that we think, but a lot of those stories, in my opinion, somewhere lies a truth. And so who knows from his country, legends and stories they speak of, but, you know, it can shake someone's world up, even if they've never had an experience like that. And who knows from his perspective what he saw behind you guys when he was shooting.
Oh yeah, exactly.
I mean,
And
that's incredible.
yeah. And I mean, I guess the main thing is, like, you know how you said shakes people up and stuff. It was almost like he had seen it before. You know what I mean? Almost like I don't want to say, like, you know, it's not, he never confirmed this. There's no whatever about that. But it was almost like he already knew what he saw, and he knew that not, you know, just shut up and don't say anything about it.
Right.
Don't talk about it.
Right.
Don't do this. Been down this road type thing. I mean, we never went back to that riverbank after that. We never trained out there, anything like that. But what really confirmed the whole thing for me, because like I said, I hit my head a bunch of times. Like, and when I say hit my head, I don't mean like, it's not like I got knocked out, concussed or anything. I just bumped my head a couple times off the ceiling of a van. That's no big deal.
Right.
But pretty much. So after we had left the gym and everything like that, I was living out of my car at the time. Well, I was like half-ass living at the gym, half-ass living with the dude that I was training with. And then, you know, my car was kind of like the closest thing that I had to my own place, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, of course.
But and he was telling me to stay at the gym, and then my training partner said, like, no, come stay at my house tonight, whatever. And then we ended up taking a few days off because of, I don't want to say it was completely because of that, but I think it was just like he knew we needed a little bit of time to, like, reflect, I guess, unleash, whatever. So obviously that just turned into, you know, I was 16, he was 18. That just turned into us drinking for like 3 days straight. But so yeah, but it is what it is. Life is it's a trip.
Sure.
So yeah, and this was like the big thing is the fact that, like, you know, he saw something before that made him come around that bend.
Yeah.
And I kept asking it because, like, you know, I'm thinking, you know, maybe I didn't see it stand up. Maybe I didn't see, maybe they weren't that big. Maybe my depth perception was off, which is almost impossible for, you know, when you're a kickboxer and you're constantly having to figure out when somebody's fist's about to hit your face and how to block it and dodge it. It's really hard to have bad depth perception. But I was shooting for the stars with every theory to discredit myself in my mind, you know. And I was also constantly like, I don't want to say, no, I was definitely annoying the shit out of him. Like, hey man, what did you see? Like, come on, dude, just tell me. That type shit. And it took like 3 full days to get a real, like, for him to really finally just like break, I guess. Like, I don't know if I broke him out of annoying him so much or if he finally just had enough of keeping it to himself. But the way that he said it was once he went around the bend, and we had seen this before with some of what I'm saying we had seen before. He said there were 3 tents and they were ripped completely up, and we'd seen that. Like, we had been there, seen tents ripped up, but we'd never seen bodies, blood, anything like that.
Gotcha.
So he said when he went around the bend, he saw a bunch of ripped up tents, and as he went to keep running, he saw this big ass gray dog wolf looking thing standing over somebody, and it hurt him as he came through because he freaked out immediately when he saw the dog. Like, he was just gonna, you know, turn or whatever, be like, oh no, fuck that. And he said it hurt him like as soon as he saw it, and it stood up.
Oh man.
And looked right at him. Yeah, this is what he said. These are his words. And I mean, I'll be honest with you, I believe 100% anything that he said. I believe, because he's never lied to me about anything.
Sure. So he,
you know what I mean?
He saw the tent ripped up, and he
3 of them.
He saw, there was 3 of them, and they were down on the riverbank.
So like as you go around the bend, you couldn't see them from where I was at or from where our trainer was at. You couldn't see them because of even if there was no foliage, you wouldn't be able to see them because of the way the river twists and turns. You know what I mean?
Okay,
as far as
gotcha.
the bank goes, even though it's a big bank, like, you still can't see it just because of the angles and stuff like that. But yeah, so pretty much in between, far enough away from the foliage to where, you know, they wouldn't be right up in the bushes, but also far enough away from the water and somewhat covered is generally where, you know, the homeless people and shit would pitch their tents down there.
Gotcha.
They'd have fires and stuff and fish if they could steal a fishing pole or if they had a fishing pole. Or so, I mean, not all the homeless people out there were really that bad. That some of them were really just down on the luck, didn't know what else to do, so they just camped out on the river and fished and, you know, survived. But these tents, yeah, he just said they were ripped up. The way he described it was, it just looked like, you know, a grizzly bear ran through and just destroyed everything all over the place type thing.
Dang.
But and when he ran up, yeah, he said he saw this big ass dog. It was crouched over something. He went to turn because he was, you know, like I said, we'd already dealt with packs of wild dogs and shit, and he at least wanted to be, the way he described it, he's like, I at least wanted to be next to you where I knew we both had guns or whatever. He goes, but as I was turning, it stood up on, like I said, two legs.
Man.
And he said it had something in its hand. And he goes, and it looked to me like it looked like a giant turkey leg, so to speak.
Oh, dang.
You know what I'm trying to say here?
I know exactly what you're saying. You know, and I've often wondered, well, that gets off topic here, but I've often wondered many times about the homeless in certain areas, what might happen. And, oh my gosh. So I could see why he was really just like in total shock with his eyes as big as quarters when you saw him.
Yeah, I mean, he was absolutely terrified to the point where, I mean, number one, a big dog is one thing. You know, neither one of us would be afraid of a big dog.
Yeah.
Especially with a 357.
Oh yeah,
So
this had to be something so massive that he knew something. This is far beyond what he normally or what you guys had normally seen.
right, and to see it stand up, that was the icing on the cake for him. Where he already was like, nope, I'm not dealing with that big of a dog by myself.
Yeah,
And then for it to stand up and have what looked to be, I mean, he said like the size of a giant turkey bone, but he was like, I'm pretty sure that was somebody's leg. And that was kind of, I was like, dude, we don't have to talk about it anymore if you don't want to. He's like,
no, yeah,
he's
no,
like,
no,
it's not really much. He's like, there's really not much else to say. He's like, because after that, I turned my head and then all of a sudden I ran into you and your freaking vomit.
yeah. So,
So
I'm
yeah,
not trying
we
to
tried
get
to
more.
make jokes about it.
Well, of course. I mean, it was a terrifying moment. So when he finally broke and told you this, did he say it was standing over what was a body or what looked like a body?
No, he didn't say. He didn't say what it was standing over. The way he described it. He couldn't see what it was standing over because of its back. You know what I mean?
Sure.
I guess he said its back was so big he couldn't tell. Exactly what it was standing over. But then once it stood up, that's when he was like, "That looked like a human's leg." You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, and it's very. I mean, if you think about the reasonable thought here, it's logical based on
yeah,
what the tents. There was 3 of them. They were shredded like a grizzly bear, like you said, and those tents don't get put up by themselves. They get put up by people that are relatively homeless or homeless and going through some hard times, and that's where they're living temporarily or just full time. Who knows? But so your trainer never spoke of this at all.
spoke of what?
He never
Oh,
spoke about
like
what he.
happened?
Yeah, he never spoke about shooting at what he
No,
saw.
he never said anything about what he was shooting or anything like that. The only thing that kind of confirmed like the theories of mine, because you know how I said I saw there was a gray one, right? Where I described that one.
Right.
I saw that one laying down. Like I said, I don't know if it was dead or if it was hurt or what, but it was definitely face down. And then I thought I was looking at another big black dog that was just sitting on its hind legs, and then it stood up. So the only other thing that truly kind of confirmed everything that I thought I saw was him telling me it was big, it was gray, looked like it had a black like mane type thing, big black. I don't know. However he described it at the time. It was a long time ago, to be honest with you, but I can visualize it better than I can.
Well, what you're describing to me is very much like my buddy Dave, who's a predator caller, and when he called one up in 2013. And, I've asked him a million times, please tell me, describe it. And, I know he's gotten tired over the years, but one of the main features, physical features that he describes is that around its head, neck, and shoulder area and down its back, it has this longer hair than the rest of the body hair, and it's like it has an extra coat on it, like a lion's mane.
That's the quickest, easiest way I could explain it too, because it was gray and it had, it was a dark gray. It's not like it was like super bright gray with a big black mane looking thing. It was like a dark gray, but you could easily differentiate the color and just the thickness and the length of the fur and everything like that in that area. And then the other one, though, that one, like I said, was black. And I asked him pretty much after he said that or whatever, I was like, did you see the black one? And he goes, yeah, I didn't. He goes, I thought I was just overcompensating with my eyes with that. I was like, where'd you see it at? And he goes, it sounds weird, but he was like, it was in one of the tents.
Oh, was it really?
That's what he said. You know what I mean? He's
no,
like,
well, it wouldn't surprise me.
He goes, I didn't see the whole thing. He's like, I wasn't sure. He's like, but I saw the 2 legs and the tail like coming out of a tent. He goes, and then I seen that one, and then I ran to you. You shot. He's like, I know for a fact that the one that you shot was the gray one that I'd seen. he goes, and then as soon as, we started running or whatever, he's like, I looked back, and out of the corner of my eye, I could have swore I saw the other one, like another black one, but he was like, but it wasn't as big. It was a little thinner, and you know what I mean? Still way bigger than us, but.
Oh, yeah. Oh, you know what? That doesn't surprise me. It really doesn't. And so he saw then both of them.
So, and that's what confirmed my, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
My mind and what I saw is that he saw both of them, and he described them, because like I wasn't gonna let him get too far, like get off the hook with it, because I was trying to disprove what I'd seen in my own mind.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Because like
Yeah.
I didn't want to believe it.
Of course
So
not.
I'm doing everything I can to be like, okay, yeah. So he saw one big gray dog. Oh, it stood up. Well, maybe he just had a leg, and it's, you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, your
And then-
mind tries to play, reasonable. It's reasonable justification. You
Right.
try to go through, what do I reference this to? Well, that's a dog. It looks like a dog, but dang, that's a
Really
big
big.
dog. And wait a minute, how many
Yeah.
dogs stand up? Well, not many that I've seen, except in the circus, and they're never that big. What's one standing up out here? So everything doesn't add up, but your brain is trying to make sense of everything, and it's just happening very fast.
Exactly. And it happened again, like I said, when I was talking to him that night. Like, I'm just like, because like I'm trying to disprove what I thought I saw, or what I did see, and make that what I thought I saw, and all that did was prove that what I thought I saw I did see, and I'm not disproving any of it.
Right.
It just was it was just a big clarification. And we talked about it a few more times after that, but we kind of it was one of those things where we pushed it out of our minds a lot, just because he was chasing a title shot, and I was just trying to go pro at that point. I did go pro. I ended up going pro by September, but the end of September. But like we were trying to prove ourselves in that narrative too, and there wasn't, YouTube wasn't like it is now.
No,
I didn't even know what a dogman was.
what year did this occur again?
It would have been 2006.
Yeah, you're right. It really didn't start picking up speed until about 2008, 2009.
Yeah, and I didn't have a normal iPhone. I had a flip phone back then.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yep.
I wasn't like it's not like you could just pull out your iPhone and have like a, what is it, like 1080 whatever camera and
Right.
do whatever you want. Like, you had a flip phone so you can call people and text people, and that was about it.
Yeah,
And I
everything
guess if
was
you
very,
had a-
very pixelated.
Yeah, and if you had a good camera, maybe you could get something like that. I don't know, but I doubt it.
Right. Everything was so
looking back at the-
pixelated and really video. You could send video, but you couldn't see. You would have to compress it so much, and then when you got it, you couldn't even make heads or tails of it because it was so pixelated.
Right. On top of, like, obviously we're wearing gym short. We're no shirt, gym shorts, and jogging shoes. It's not like we already had to carry the gun on us. We weren't. Last thing on my mind was, let me send a text message while I'm running in 110 degree heat, 125 with humidity.
Well,
You know what I mean?
yeah, and here's the logical point. Let's just say you had at that time. Let's say we had the advancement in technology of an iPhone, and say you both had one. It is unlikely in a circumstance that you guys were in that even then you could get a pic or a video, because you and we're not like professional journalists where we have cameras hanging on us all the time, and we all have a cell phone, which has a camera. Pretty nice nowadays, but you don't think that when you're like, what the hell is that? Your mind doesn't go, I got to get a video of this. I got to get a picture, especially when you're in a panic.
Yeah, it was all survival. I considered jumping. There was at one point I remember, because I had slipped a little bit when I was going around this other bend, and I looked and I seen the river. Like, I looked to my right and I could, like, just out of the corner of my eye, I could see the river. And we're talking about the Mississippi River. We're not talking about like a friendly river that you could just go jump in.
Oh, right.
I was like, maybe I would be safer to I know I could make it to the river. You know what I mean? I was like, maybe I'd be safer jumping in there. But it was just a split second thought, and I was like, you're gonna die either way. If you're gonna die that way, or you're gonna die this way. So just fucking keep running.
Yeah, well, and
you
here's
don't want to get caught in the undertow.
Well, your mind is racing for survival. I mean, and that's normal. And here's the thing, though. I've interviewed some people. I remember there was one guy. not too far from where I live. I think it was in Fairfax, Oklahoma, and there's a river down there. I can't remember off the top of my head, but they saw one of these creatures swimming very well across up current at a diagonal.
I could believe that.
And they were shocked.
Build.
They were shocked how well it was swimming upstream. You had to have some strength, and it was going upstream at a diagonal. And so these creatures, I think, are a hell of a lot more intelligent than what we give them credit to, and their abilities. So if I can ask a couple more questions, if I may, because I know you're on a time schedule, so I appreciate you really taking the time with me. But so back to when you shot this at about 10 yards, I think you said you saw it on the ground and it didn't move, but you weren't sure. Is that what I heard you say?
I saw it on the ground after the fact, after I'd already gotten back. So it didn't not move because of me shooting it. I think it was because of my trainer, boxing trainer.
Oh,
I'm pretty sure he's who shot it and put it on the ground.
Okay. I understand
know I
now.
bought us a little bit of time. I can guarantee you that. I definitely bought us some time by shooting it. Because when I shot, like, when you aim a gun, it doesn't matter what type of state you're in. If you pull the trigger and you're aiming at something and it's that close to you, you see, I saw the shock of it when it hit its hand. Like, I mean, it definitely hurt for sure. I'm not saying that it like disabled it, obviously, because later on it was 20, 30 more yards down the thing to where we were at. We were only like a quarter of a way through what our normal run would have been too. So like it's not like we were that far. We were only a quarter of a way in it. If we would have been 3/4 of the way into it or something like that,
oh man,
we'd have been toast. Yeah.
This was an area that you have ran before?
Yeah.
So
we did it every Saturday and Sunday throughout that entire summer.
And that was the normal route you guys took?
Yep. Same one every Saturday and every Sunday.
So tell me,
said, we'd seen other crazy shit there. Like I said, we'd seen shredded tents. We'd seen a body bobbing up at the shore, up against the bank. We'd seen, people, prostitutes doing what they do, and other stuff. Yeah. Other things even worse than any of the stuff I just, you know what I mean? We had seen some shit down there.
But
we'd never
like
seen
this.
a walking freaking dog that wanted to eat people.
Yeah. And after this occurred, and you guys took your break and you were in training because you went pro later, and your buddy was trying to get a title fight.
Yeah, he was chasing the title fight.
So after that, did you guys ever go back on that route again?
Oh, hell no. Absolutely not.
Yeah. I figured not, but I thought I would ask. Yeah, I know that sounds nuts.
The old man was like, no, we're gonna start. We started doing the regular St. Louis riverfront after that, which is just right across the river, but right across the river, closer to the arch and stuff like that.
Wow.
So yeah, we started doing that. The only reason why we used to do that one was just because it was less populated 90% of the time. I mean, when I say we ran into ugly stuff, bad stuff that you don't want to run into, that was like maybe 5 days from May until August. You know what I'm saying? So it was very far and in between. Like, yes, it did happen, but it's not like it was a daily thing, right?
Right. Well, yeah, I mean, at what point did you guys, or did you say, this could be a dogman type creature that people are talking about? Did you ever have an aha moment later when YouTube got popular, or how did you?
Yeah, it was it was almost a decade and a half later.
Oh, really?
Pretty much. Yeah. So I was like, I pretty much was just, I had YouTube. I had once I really got on my feet, I got my life together, stuff like that. I had a phone, I had a house, I had all that stuff. Well, I should say, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I just, you search for stuff when you're trying to go to bed, you search for stuff that you're interested in. And I was kind of just watching different true crime stuff. And then somehow I came across Mr. Ballin, that guy, came across his page. and watched some of the stuff about him talking about like people getting stalked in the Appalachian Mountains and stuff like that. And then there was a story he told about creatures. He didn't say like what they were in the story. He didn't say what they are. But then I guess after I watched that one, then somehow Dogman got in my algorithm, and I was like, wait a minute, what the hell is this? And it took me a long time to believe any of it. Like I just thought it was like some creepypasta bullshit until like actually watching real interviews with real people, like swearing, up and down on their lives and kids. That like, yeah, this is what I saw. It was an upright walking canid, and I was just like, dude, I saw one of those when I was a kid. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and then it kind of clicked.
Yeah, it all just kind of clicked, and it was like, and then after that, it was like, should I really even go out of my way to tell people about this? And then, you watch some stuff, and it's just like some of the shit could have been prevented if there was some type of warning for people. And then you look back, like for me at least, I look back at East St. Louis. People go missing, people die, nobody cares. You know what I mean? It's literally one of the most lawless areas in the entire country, and that's right down that's less than a mile from where we have this experience.
That was one thing that appealed to me, is that in your message to me, you just said that I want people to know about this area and about kind of the experience that we had. And because there's people that just don't care about other people down there, and there's a lot of ugly things happening, and this may be one of them.
Exactly. And it's just like, you can go missing down there for being anything. You know what I mean? You could be a runaway teenager in the police eyes or whatever. They're not going to follow up. They're not going to worry about it. And if you run into something like that, they're not going to find your body or any trace of you. And nobody, you know what I mean? Nobody's going to care. Nobody's going to think to look except for your family. And then your family's going to be shit out of luck. So it's like, it's just one of those things where it's almost like a responsibility. It's not even like, after being through that and seeing something like that and knowing, like getting the confirmation, I guess, that.
Yeah, and you guys had firearms and you had backup. Your trainer had a firearm too, and thank God he did. But the other people that are down there that are much less fortunate, that live down there because they're just down on their luck for whatever reasons in life, and they have, how many of them have any means to protect themselves?
Yeah, exactly.
Nothing, probably nothing at all. And they're down there very open and vulnerable to these creatures. They don't have a chance.
Right, exactly. Anywhere by the riverbank, I would say, especially on the Illinois side. On the St. Louis side, you're a little bit safer because you got the arch and you got more. But wherever there's foliage and railroad tracks and stuff like that, I would just stay away from.
Gotcha.
Unless you're trying to find something, but I promise that you don't want to find it.
Yeah, that's good words of advice. Well, I want to thank you so much for your time, and man, we finally hooked up, got together. I appreciate you getting back with me when you had a moment here, so I will definitely get this out to the folks. What a hair-raising moment, and I'm glad you guys ended up getting out of there safely, and that you had your trainer was smart enough and savvy enough to give you guys a firearm, and he had one. So, like we always say, there was an old ad back in the 70s for American Express. You never leave home without it, and that's kind of our mantra when we leave. We always carry a firearm no matter where we go. When we're out hunting, scouting, it doesn't matter, because it's better to have for a contingency rather than not have when you need it. So again, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate you. And if you think of anything later, you can text me. You got my number. And I'm very grateful for you sharing this experience, even though it was kind of traumatizing to you.
Yeah, it's all good. I appreciate you having me.
Absolutely. You take care, buddy. And we'll talk here soon. Call anytime.
All right. Sounds good. Thank you.
All right. Take care.
Hey guys, good to be with you. I just wanted to briefly show you what the 50,000 subscriber giveaway gift is and how you as a subscriber can possibly win this. So I'm going to show you right now. Here it is. So right here, Monster 911, basically 50,000 subscriber giveaway, an appreciation reaching 50,000 subscribers. This is an authentic Sasquatch footprint resin copy discovered in Oklahoma, and this was provided by Southern Bigfoot Alliance for providing this resin casting. They were the ones that originally casted this in the mud down in Carter County, and I put a little map here of where they found it, which county in Oklahoma, and I put some Oklahoma patches in here. This is the resin copy. I painted it so you could see some of the nuances of the print casting, and then it's encased in this glass case here, and it says footprint cast of Oklahoma Sasquatch resin replica, Carter County, Oklahoma, and the date that they casted it was April 18th, 2020. So I thought you guys, someone's going to be the lucky recipient of this. And so I thought about this for a while, and I think what I want to do is that if you've been with me when we were Cryptid Brothers Investigations, I still have a shirt on right now, of Oklahoma since 2017, in the comment section, I'm going to look through every comment. If you've been with me since 2017, I want you to, in the comments, just put 2017. That's what I want you to do. It's going to stick out to me, and I'll know you have been a long time subscriber. And then I'm going to give this away to those subscribers that's been with me since 2017. When we reach 100,000 subscribers, it'll be everybody up to that point. So again, put 2017 in the comment, and good luck. I'll let you know on the next show who the lucky winner is. Back to the show.
So I just wanted to do a brief summary, guys, as always, and just get your thoughts on what you heard. My apologies here if you see bags under my eyes. It's really late at night here, and I've been doing a lot of interviews today, and I had to get a lot of homestead chores in, and tomorrow I've got I leave early for a travel interview, but I did want to get this recorded here before I left. So what was your thoughts of the show? What did you think about, the homeless experiencing some of these dogman creatures? I mean, I've often thought about that because when I drive over a particular bridge going in and out of Tulsa, every once in a while when the water has receded and there is land exposed, the banks are exposed on the Arkansas River, I'll see a tent, I'll see structures built down there on the riverbank, and I've often wondered, there's no lights down there. The highways coming in and out of a metro area has lights, obviously for the cars, for pedestrians, for cyclists, for motorbikes, but on the river, there's none. It's pitch black down there. Some of the points that I thought was very intriguing, just flat out very bizarre, and some actually validated what kind of we already know from previous interviews. In no particular order, I found it very interesting that this encounter occurred during the day. It wasn't at night. It was full purview of these creatures. I found it interesting and very smart that the trainer, who was kind of a tough guy, a rough man, but very smart. He had some really good insights for the young men, but he trained them how to shoot a firearm, which was fantastic. And he didn't want them running without one. So it's like we've always said, you go out, you need to protect yourself. Now, I don't want you breaking the law in your state if you can't carry a concealed firearm, but do carry something else that it can at least give you some level of protection. So I found that was very smart to do. And had they not had these firearms to protect themselves, I don't know what would happen, because they weren't within range that based on what the guest said at that time, they weren't within range where the trainer could stay off these creatures from them. They weren't yet close enough to the van where the trainer was at. They had to kind of get there first. So having the firearms kind of was able to kind of stave off these creatures until they could get going and run. And thank goodness that they were already training, because they could cover some ground fast. Not that they could outrun these creatures, but that they were in shape enough as athletes that they could, get some ground going real quick between them and this dogman creature after shooting their firearms to head back to the van where the trainer was at. And thank goodness he had a firearm too. All three of them did. So I thought that was very, very insightful for the trainer. And I thought it was just one of those moments that you've got the right gear for the right moment. Some other things, we always say that these creatures are never by themselves, and this was a case where there was two. There may have been more. This guest didn't know. All he knows is that there were two based on what he saw and what in between of what his partner, his buddy, that was a little bit older than him, what he saw too. He said he saw two. The guest shot at one. The trainer didn't say much after that. He didn't ask the trainer how many there were behind them or anything like that. He was kind of a man of few words. But I don't think from the interview, I don't think he talked to him later about that. But it must have shook up the trainer a little bit, being kind of a stern man, a very matter-of-fact man where he grew up. I think he said it was Bosnia. To give the boys a day off of training when they're training every day, and to give them a day off the next day, it probably shook the trainer up a little bit too. I can only imagine. Based on what he saw, the boys were running, so they didn't really take time to turn around, but based on what he saw was coming at the boys and coming at him. I can't help but think it probably shook him up a bit. And again, thank goodness he had some firepower to stave off these dogman creatures from the boys, so they could kind of catch up to get to the van. The guest was very polite about how he said what his buddy saw. That he saw one was on the ground in a tent. It was inside the tent that was kind of slashed up. And then another one was standing outside a slashed up tent. And it had, like he said, like a turkey leg. Well, what he was really saying, of course, as you know, that it appeared to be a human leg. It sounds very graphic, I know, but that could have been the case. It really could have been the case, what he saw. And we've often, in certain circles, have talked about this on comments and on shows, other guests. Not that anyone has seen this directly, but we've speculated it pretty heavy that this might be the case in certain circumstances. And like this guest, he wanted to come forward because he just felt bad for the homeless people. They this is a group that is kind of lost to society. And he said that there's all kinds of things that go on down in these encampments on the river and in alleyways in the city. And if someone goes missing, oh well. And if they find bodies all the time in the river, it's so common. You hate to say it. So if someone dies and they find a body that's in pieces, it'll never make the news, especially homeless. It'll never make the news. It's just one more person that's had a short life. And he was saddened about it. And so that's why he wanted this story to come out even years later. And this is the first time he's really shared this story. He just felt that it wasn't important to put his name out there, but he wanted the story out there of what happened. And it shook him up. It definitely shook his buddy up. He doesn't know where his friend went to. Otherwise, we would try to make contact with him or the trainer. This was years ago. But it really made me think, too, about when I see the homeless down on the riverbanks. That's where wildlife. We say that, waterways are pathways or highways of a lot of indigenous animals. But we also say it's pathways for these creatures. Because if other creatures are following that waterway, other creatures are sustenance, they're food. Well, humans are down there too. So those are just some of my thoughts off the top of my head. I'd like to know what you think. And I appreciate you guys very much for staying tuned and always watching the show. Please comment. And as always, be safe out there. And always remember, we're never alone when in the wilderness. Take care.